Watching Law and Order. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
Everything good? Everything well?
Tuesday. A little sleepy. Yeah, it's Tuesday. You get past the Monday blues, and then you realize you're back at work.
No, see, you know, in my place, the kids just got off of spring break, so they haven't been back at the building. So they're just like crazy. They're like, oh, let's run in the hallways. How are you? They're just wilding out. And I'm like, you know what?
That pent up energy.
Yeah, and that's how I know I'm not ready to be anybody's mother at the moment.
I can't imagine being around General at Gen Pop. I can't imagine being around Gen Pop.
Makes
like,
4
like
new
prison.
classes.
It is prison.
I've been watching Oz as well, so. But
I can't imagine it.
4 new classes,
Kids that actually
and
talk.
kids that don't have.
they act up because they want to, not because there is something preventing them from doing the right thing. It's just that they choose.
They
to
choose
do the wrong
to.
thing.
They choose to
like,
be
no.
little jerks. I
just
call them jerks
wanna-
all the time.
I want to throw a chair across the room. Why are you this? What?
Yeah.
I felt like it.
See, I have a mixture. So, yeah, like 60% of our school is special education.
And in your training, I know you just got finished doing like a week of training, fun stuff. Did they ever talk about like school shooting and what would happen if that would happen at your location?
So, we've had incidents with guns already in the school. This is a middle school. We have had incidents with the whole bullying thing. So this week actually is cyberbullying prevention and all that, which we talked about, and the kids was talking about shootings and all that. And so they're very aware that it's been to the point that they're so aware that we even haven't had to have the conversation because they've been asking about it. And like when the last incident happened, they were like, hey, you know, are we safe here? And all, like, we were getting those questions. And it's like, yeah.
Of course, you know, we're invested in you guys and keeping you safe.
Miss, I'm not going to say her name, but secretary wouldn't let anybody in that looked. But the problem with working in a school in the inner city is it's all different walks of life. People have children, so you can't be like, oh, we're not gonna. You can't come in
to see your child exactly.
And it's a boarding school too, so like if something happens, they still have to come during the week to take their kid to get their glasses changed. You know, and it's like, oh, hey, Johnny's, and it could easily happen that quick.
That's very true.
Usually does.
So we just got security this week, which is like all this stuff on. We have to have clear book bags and mesh book bags.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we all had. Well, see, they're not even used to that.
Yeah.
I remember in high school, like if you wanted to carry your book bag around from class to class, it had to be clear or mesh.
Yeah.
If not, then you put your your North Face book bag in that locker and you keep it
we
pushing.
all had truancy officers too.
Yeah. Yeah, we did have that one officer standing in front of the building.
And I think that's what's missing, which is making this thing a bigger issue. You don't have anybody on campus that is there. Even with my school, with kids that have, some of our kids have had issues with being in crime and doing that stuff. It happens. You could bring something in there. You have nobody checking anybody. And now metal detectors are getting put in every school. And it's like, this is becoming huge. But it's like, didn't y'all know that this could possibly have happened? Didn't this happen?
Yeah. And
many of times before?
When I did research, it goes to show like school shootings have been happening since like as far back as 1840.
Yeah.
Like, and even there was like an incident before it was the United States of America where, you know, shit pops off at a school crazy unexpectedly, but it wasn't until, you know, the Columbine shooting in Colorado where it was a high number of death and injuries. Like 21 people were injured and 15 were killed. So that's when it was like, whoa,
people.
wait a hot minute. So what would be like the answer? Should how do we solve this? Should it be guns in classrooms, like teachers are armed. I don't think so, because sometimes
absolutely
I'm not even in a classroom with children all day, and my nerves get tested and stomped on and trialed.
Someone asked me that in line. I said, no, people are crazy. That was
very
my simple
true
answer. It doesn't make sense. It's not safe.
There's no one answer, though, because y'all all went to, like, predominantly black high schools. I left PG County Public Schools in 9th grade, so from, like, preschool on up to 8th grade, all I knew was, like, you know, whatever PG County Public Schools were teaching at the time. We were used to the whole, you know, lockdowns because someone brought a gun. Like, we didn't really think much of it kind of situation. It's like, I mean, someone brought a gun. As long as someone gets shot, you know, that's just what happens kind of thing. But then the year that I moved to La Plata and started attending a white high school, that's when Glen Park had to, like, that's when they started reinforcing the whole clear backpack thing. So I missed out on it, like, just by a year. And I was actually pretty happy about it because I was like, oh, I don't want to have to carry a clear backpack. But, I mean, if that's the rules, it is. But in a white high school, like, you know how the shooting just happened recently out in Southern Maryland, not too far from my high school, honestly, they treat the kids completely different. You know, we had a truancy officer, but he just jokes with the kids all day. He's never had to, like, I've never seen him arrest somebody. I don't even remember seeing him carry a gun. Like, he was like, he was a doughboy, honestly. He's just so chunky. He's just the friendliest looking officer. I kind of forgot that he actually worked for the sheriff's department. I thought he was just like a security
Chief
guard.
Wiggins, like off
The
Simpsons.
He was exactly like that.
Yo, no, that's real. But when I worked in Charles County, I didn't know that middle schools had them. I didn't know because we didn't have middle schools here. And I was like,
I think we had a security guard. I don't think we had an actual
officer.
Yeah.
And the teachers there were definitely like, they were white people. I don't know how else to describe it. Like, they were white people. Some of them were, you know, well-to-do white people, you know, just happy-go-lucky off in their white world. Some of them were a little crazy, and I would not feel comfortable if they could have guns at school. Because, out in the country, people hunt all the time. That's, like, a common thing. Like...
So what about this? A superintendent in Blue Mountain District in Pennsylvania, he decided that each classroom could be armed with a 5-gallon bucket of river stones. Would you feel more comfortable with, like, you know, your teachers being armed with stones to protect your children?
Because, you know, if one kid gets on their nerves, they just go...
Like, Goliath is outside. Like, what? Like, what?
So wait, question.
That ain't the most
is this gonna be like you hear shots and you put the bucket above the door so when the shooter comes in the bucket falls over and hits him in the head?
This ain't Fortnite.
Or if every child has a rock on the corner of their desk and when the teacher says, you know, the
fire!
Exactly. As soon as the door opens, it's lights
Operation
out.
Diglett's in effect, y'all.
And that M16 go through the rocks.
This is the thing. I think that a lot of what's going on is like totally not even gonna like
gun related
anything.
No,
because the issue is not like even for like, you know, clear backpacks and metal detectors at schools. If someone is crazy enough or somebody has made up in their mind that I want to go and do harm at a school, it doesn't matter whether they start doing the harm on the steps of the school. Like, if they're going to get into the school, if they have a gun, they're going to get into the school. And they're going to, it's like you can't stop somebody who has already made up in their mind, like, I'm going to go to this school and I'm going to shoot some people. A metal detector is not going to stop them.
Okay.
A clear backpack is not going to stop them. So it's like...
Very true. So what say you? What do you think should
and this
like
is going to sound...
laws,
it's going to sound like a broken
straight
record, but I think it's quite obvious that it's just... Why do these people even have guns? That's the question. How did they?
Because they live in Southeast.
But
I'm saying, but out where I live, because there's deer everywhere, and I gotta kill them.
That is the problem. It's mental health, and it's how does this person acquire this gun? Because you're gonna have crazy people. You can't stop that, but.
Yeah, they keep making them. I don't know why. They keep making crazies.
And then some of these people, I don't know. I guess you have to be crazy to do stuff like that. But some of these people are very motivated, and they have what in their mind they want to do. They're a martyr for something, or if they want to like send a message to whoever. Like, I mean, they're still in my mind sort of crazy. But sometimes it's like not just like somebody just wakes up and they're just like. So it's like, how do these people acquire these assault weapons that allow you to kill mass I guess, they make the assault weapon so that you can kill mass animals. Like, why would you even make it so that people can have these type of weapons?
My question
One
is
shot
like,
kills. Like
if you're not shooting animals,
a rifle. That's
what
it.
are you shooting?
Yeah.
Why would you have to fire that many rounds a second?
And I know some
and
people
you're
like
gonna destroy the meat if
to like the gun.
if you shoot up an animal with
that's the dumbest excuse. Then
an M16 or AR.
Some people will say like, I go to the gun range and relieve stress for me. I like to just go shoot a target. But it's also like, I mean, is that really like a fundamental need that you got to drag the Constitution into? Because I'm pretty certain your right is not
some
being
people they
by that.
They live by that Second Amendment, and that
but they don't know how to read it right.
I'm allowed to have this firearm to protect myself, and if you live like in Buckshot Nowhere, Pennsylvania, where where the police station is 20-30 minutes away, if somebody's creeping in your house in the middle of the night, you want to be able to protect your family.
But
so they have that.
You can do that with a handgun. You do not need an assault rifle.
You don't.
It's like people.
Well, handguns are still being
used. It's like if I go out right now and I run over a duck, I'm gonna get fined. I'm gonna get like a very, very large ticket. I'm gonna get in trouble if I, if I'm somewhere high in public. I am going to, and these are things that are not hurting people at all. But for some reason, we want to cater to these rules that kill people, like a lot of people. And it's just like, no, we have to dance around this situation. We don't want to like make other people uncomfortable. How about the niggas that's dying? Like,
well, keep in mind, there's a pretty big payoff for those senators who are supporting.
Definitely.
They're
Very
getting
true.
supported by the NRA, and the National Rifle Association
Huge.
has deep ties.
I got a sticker in the mail. I was like, when did I sign up for this?
You wanted it.
Nah, with my name on it.
You started driving that pickup truck for 3 weeks, and they said,
They was like, got him.
I got to get that membership going.
that's hilarious.
Like, when was I drunk one night? Like, I need to protect myself.
Right.
It was the one time you wore jeans.
Yeah, exactly. See? And cowboy boots.
Boot scooting Nash over there.
But like ARs that they are putting so much attention on AR-15 to be like specific. The AR-15 is a brother of an actual rifle that shoots single shots. It has plastic around it, which makes it look like it's way.
Does AR mean automatic rifle?
No. It's assault rifle, automatic rifle, or the actual creator of the original AR, and I forgot what it is, but it's a name. It's somebody's name. And so
Ontavious
Ronglowski. We've associated with it because of our Call of Duties and all this. Now we know when we see that black gun laying there, that's something that I'm supposed to use to kill somebody. But initially it was a hunting rifle that they turned into something that now is a killing weapon. Like it's for people. That joint is not for.
It's such a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's not.
It is literally just white people upset because they feel like they're going to be having something taken away from them.
Well,
and that is literally the only thing stopping them.
Now we have white kids upset that they have clear book bags too.
Right.
So
I did see that they were upset, the children at Parkland.
Yeah,
because they had to wear.
They're protesting by putting like.
And so now they're making a joke about it, like
and
putting ducks in the front of their backpack or like little things, like it's a joke when
they don't understand how disrespectful it is. Like
people die.
Like people,
your
classmates,
yeah,
like somebody that you've known since like the 5th grade.
Well, also,
I mean, the first pre-K probably.
They don't understand their privilege because, like, it must be one hell of a privilege to be able to even joke about that. Because when we all had to go through, like, the clear backpack phase, it's like, okay, we're just gonna conform to it because I'm not trying to get in trouble for this shit.
Do y'all remember how scary it was to still go to middle school when a sniper was shooting middle school?
What?
Yeah.
No one understands what happened here.
I had to walk to school and like terrified.
And every time you saw that white van,
every time
I had to zigzag down Apricot Court every morning. Just And we all were literally at the bus stop moving. We were like, because right over at Benjamin Tasker.
Right.
Literally 10 minutes from here.
We didn't even go into DC if we didn't have to.
That is so freaking scary.
And you know what's crazy? You know who got out? Charles County got out of school for those days.
They did?
And I called my cousin. I was like, hey, you hear about that sniper? He's like, yeah, we've been out of school. Like, what?
Yeah, we at home doing
He
practice.
Didn't make it to Wakanda. But no, and that's some real stuff. That's scary. That's a part of American history right there. That Bama was out here.
That's gonna definitely be a
Lifetime movie.
FX.
They've already done it. And the police, the Montgomery County police officer that found him was played by the dad. He was one of the dads on one of them 90s shows. Oh my god! And it was hilarious.
Okay, so I hear Matt saying that there should be like stricter gun laws to prevent people from owning those heavy assault military grade weapons.
It's also mental health too, though.
Mental health. So, and I know in a previous episode we discussed like bullying with children, and I know for us, like when we were bullied or if people talked about it stopped at school. For now, the children, they're connected via social media, so the things follow them home. And like huge, even, one child was telling me, yeah, I'm not friends with her anymore, but she's telling everybody on Snapchat that, not to hang out with me and that I'm this and I'm that. So how can we combat the cyberbullying, mental health, and even we talk about, this mental health with the children. It's sometimes the teachers or the volunteers at the school or because like you said, anybody that has their mind made up, I'm going to get into the school and, go down.
It's real. When I made that comment. Should it be
a society type of thing that we start to...
So the thing the misconception with the mental health that people like keep pinpointing, like, well, it's not like he was diagnosed bipolar, because it's always a lone white
of
gunman.
Course, that misguided soul. That
right, it's like it's not like he was diagnosed schizophrenic or whatever. He was just bullied. And the thing with mental health is like, so I was telling him I was reading about the mass shooting that happened in Australia in the 90s that caused them to have such strict gun laws to this day. All it took was one mass shooting, and it's hard to acquire even a handgun in Australia now, because they took action. Like 23 people died, so many were wounded. And I was listening to a podcast on it. I heard a recording of the guy's voice. He was not diagnosed mentally ill in any way. Just basically like, this nigga's pure evil. That's he, 8 different psychologists examined him when he was a kid alone, and then his parents had him examined again when he's an adult. Then the court had him examined again. No one was like, he doesn't really have any actual mental illness. He's just a bad person. You have to accept there's just bad people.
It's just
it's sad that whether you do have schizophrenia or some sort of bipolar disorder, or if you're just a bad person, either way you can get your hand on a gun. So for me, I'm still siding with stricter gun laws, because that's just the start. That's just the step one. Because I feel like step 1.5 is let's start addressing these things that cause these bad mental health moments. Not even mental health issues, just mental moments where a white guy's like, you know what, I think I'm gonna set my family on fire today. What the hell's going on with you, Doug? White men are the most self-oppressed people, because
that's a good self-oppressed, because you have all of this privilege and freedom and rights that no one's infringing upon.
I'm telling you,
yet you just feel
free advertising. Legit free advertising. If you ever get a chance to listen to the Case File podcast, so many white people have done terrible things: abductions, kidnappings, rapes, child molestation.
The funny thing is,
a woman skinned her husband alive.
That's a long process.
Well,
she mad
at she was cared. No, first of all, Catherine Knight, look her up. She's in Australia. She's still alive. Is the worst part. Meanwhile, some nigga was put on death row for some shit he didn't do. White people will live through crimes. Because she was a butcher. That's why I was like, okay, she worked in a butcher. She cooked his head and was planning on serving it to his children, but she made vegetables with it, because balanced diet. He's a fatty meat. The cranium.
I don't understand how America can go from, obviously, in the Western days, everybody had a gun. You know what I'm saying? That was just how it was at that point. Whether it was for hunting, whether it was for protecting yourself, everyone had a gun.
Yeah.
And as we can see, in a lot of, just historically, people did die. You know what I'm saying? It might not have been documented the same way that it happened now. But even in that transition to like the way that we evolved as a civilization or as a community, there were obviously gun laws put in place so that people couldn't just walk around with revolvers and like, you can't just do that anymore to make people more safe. Like, why is it such a foreign concept that with this growing world, like now it's not just you're at home, now it's not just that you're at school. The world is getting smaller, you know what I mean? And how is it that we're moving backwards? Like, it's easier to acquire this stuff.
That's the
you know what I'm saying? Like,
they're holding on to it.
Little kids in the Western days, when they got their first gun, they were thinking, "Oh, I get to like hunt." Now, because of media, because of movies and games, a gun is synonymous with killing a person. Like, I don't
just
care.
a person you don't even like.
Yeah, it's like
that much.
that is
he looked
just
at me
the
wrong,
enemy.
so
No
I
no
shot
matter
him.
how much white America or America in general, to be honest, because a lot of black gun lovers who, regardless of how much they don't want to accept that, to young children, to high schoolers, whatever, guns are synonymous with killing people. That is like the tool of a gun.
Is it because like violence is so prevalent in everything that when we see like violence in games and movies, it doesn't really
we
register.
desensitized.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
I mean, y'all two play the more violent games, so.
I was talking about this not but a half an hour ago, how the new Far Cry looks crazy on PC, that it looks so real that it kind of makes you feel a little weird when you see somebody get shot on it. The new Call of Duty was very clear. You're
The
like,
World War II.
yeah, I was like, whoa,
that
that's a
was not
body
okay.
flying. And they showed like gameplay
yeah.
footage and stuff like that to people that actually were in World War II. And they sitting there like, oh, yeah, that feels like that's how it was.
Right.
And you got kids playing it.
Yeah.
And they're just like,
Headshot
headshot Nazi.
I
Like,
played that with my dad. I'm like, you are in
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
grade. Why are you watching your dad play? No, this
Right.
is not okay.
I have a question. So I remember when this whole like gun debate started to become really, really popular. Like I think it was like last year, a couple years ago. I think it was like right after. I want to say I had the conversation after that white guy shot up the movie theater in Colorado. Yeah, I think it was after that. And I was talking to a guy I went to college with, and you know how we went to college with a lot of vets. So with vets comes, great training with the gun, but also PTSD. So we were talking about concealed carry and whether or not, there is such thing as a good guy with a gun and whatnot. And he was starting to go on this rant of like, well, not many people know, but back when we were in class together, I used to carry a gun. I had I can still carry a gun. I was like, that does not make me feel safe at all. I get that you were trained with it in Afghanistan, but this is not Afghanistan. This is an art school, my nigga. You could fight with the paintbrush before you fight with that gun.
To a situation,
and I told him, I was like,
I didn't know it was your micron. My bad.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and like at the same time, I was like, you didn't tell anyone until like way too late that you had PTSD. So I don't feel comfortable at all with you walking around with a gun like that. Also, mind you, we had construction going on across the street. One of my friends, Jason, luckily he did not conceal carry at all, to my knowledge at least. They did like a small, like a controlled explosion to, renovate or demolition or whatever across to make that parking garage or whatever.
The whole time we were there, they were building that big old tower.
Yeah, he heard the explosion. He freaked out for a second. But like luckily it was like, I'll call it a good freak out because he was just like more aware than like reaching for anything. He was just looking outside.
Right.
It's like he actually was trying to like make sure everyone else was okay.
His sensibilities.
And he was just shook for a second. So I was like, I would prefer to see you shook and try to help you calm down than talk your ass down while you point a gun at me.
This is my thing.
Like,
I don't
why do
understand
you
how-
need that with you also? I told him, I was like, first of all, it's kind of racist of you to bring it to a predominantly black school, first of all.
But it's like,
you don't need it.
It's like, it would seem like that same audience is very, very, active in raising awareness for things like PTSD, things like how mentally destructive being in like areas of war, or even when it comes to like being a police officer or being.
They've seen some
those
gruesome
type of
things.
Or even like when you're talking about
They
like,
haven't advanced awareness of
urban
how these things
youth
work.
being in neighborhoods or in areas where there's a lot of gunfire or anything like that. I don't understand how people can be like so sensitive to those type of things, yet continue to want to have access and to provide access for these type of weapons for all of these different types of
So that brings me to my question. Do you believe in any way in the good guy with a gun? Or is that like 100% a myth for you?
As a black
Because, you know, they always say like, if there was a good guy...
I always...
I've never heard that phrase.
I always be like...
Personally, I always said I was going to get one in the state of Maryland. Then I realized that I'm a black guy.
Yeah.
Even if I'm doing the right thing, and I have that, and I happen to save somebody's life, and then a police officer comes on the crime,
you are a
and
black
I'm
man.
done. I'm done. Like, even if that joint's away and they see a little peek, it's like, oh, he did it. No, I saved somebody's life, but then I'm gone. And that's when that idea of having that was just completely... I mean, this was a while ago. This wasn't recently. I was just like, that doesn't make sense for me. But we have a lot of police officer friends and very close to my family and very close friends. They all carry their gun all the time. My brother's even apprehended somebody not on duty before. Do I still feel like I'm comfortable around? Still not to this day, even with my friends and with their kids. It's weird. It's still, because it is a firearm, it can take someone's life.
Like, quick.
My dad put a lot of emphasis on like the purpose of guns, because we live out in the country, so we have not like as many as these people trying to defend the fact that they're getting their guns taken away, but we have plenty of guns in my household, and they're locked away in a safe. Only the adults in the house are allowed to know the code, this and that. And I still lost my sister to gun violence, like self-inflicted, because there was just a mental health issue there that wasn't really addressed. And after we lost her, my dad was like, I'm changing the code. You're not allowed to know. And he's like, your mom might be allowed to know, but she doesn't know how to use the gun, so it's kind of pointless. But she said she wants to put like valuable stuff in there, so I guess it looks guarded, so she could know, I guess. But so I'm not allowed to know the code. But whenever he opens it, I remember when we were younger, he would show us my grandfather's like antique. What do they call, like an over and under or something, like the double
barrel shotgun?
That thing, double barrel shotgun. You'd think I was paying attention to that one, but I was not. It was shiny, but it looked heavy, so I was like, oh, I can't use that at all. Like, it's the thing from Zombieland that took forever to learn. I'm like, that's useless. It's basically a musket. What's that gonna do? I'm gonna just throw the gun at somebody.
See, I want a collection of muskets. That's something I want to have in my...
But, I mean, it's like something you would see, like, in London at someone's bar, like, just hanging over, like, what's that old Winchester doing up there, kind of thing. But,
it doesn't work.
Like, I remember when he showed us how to, like, load, reload, clean a 12-gauge shotgun, and he was like, we don't hunt with this. This is for protection. When someone breaks into our house, this is the gun you see me grab, you know? He's like, this is also for warnings. This is not to even be used to kill them. This is for warnings. If I have to, I will, but this is just to send a message.
Sean Taylor would still be here if he had a weapon.
I've never met him. Named Chantel, I'm just saying.
Sean Taylor.
Oh, I thought you said
21.
21.
That's
21.
But
So do you?
So it's
think,
like it's how your parents.
As a black man,
it doesn't.
It is very, very difficult to imagine in the real world. Mm-hmm. In fantasy world, absolutely there are heroes with guns. But
Tom Cruise in
I personally,
Tom Cruise
I think that it's just an element of. Is when you bring in the human element to taking another person's life, I don't even know if the person who, even if you do save someone, the fact that you just killed someone, I think kind of, it makes the situation a little less, am I a good person? You know what I'm saying? It's more about, I just had to do a horrible thing in order to, I made a decision. Because that's ultimately what you're doing. You're saying that your life is more important than your life. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I just don't, in a perfect world, there are no guns. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we don't need it.
But
it's actually a highly unnecessary tool.
So to answer your question, I don't know. It's very difficult for me to see, is there a good person with a gun? I don't know. Because even for myself, like Devon was saying, like, even me having a gun, like, I don't know if that makes me, if I were to ever use it, am I a good person with a gun? Like, am I like a hero with a gun? I don't know.
Qualified
yeah,
to
like,
be.
You know what I'm saying? But, and this is going to sound mad cheesy, but I'm a nerd, so I'm going to use this analogy because I think it fits.
Okay.
The way that, you know what I'm saying, if you watch Avengers, right, and you watch the way that they talk about the Avengers are essentially the largest gun in the galaxy. But when you are a gun, you attract guns. Like one gun attracts another gun. just like with nuclear weapons. One country has a nuclear weapon, another
Everyone
country
else
has to
has to
figure
strap
out,
up.
I need to have a nuclear weapon.
Yeah.
I need to have an equal deterrent or an equal force.
And no one's gonna just lay their arms down equally
So,
at the same time.
With
It's
all that
constant
being
battle.
said,
Yep.
if I get an opportunity to get a gun,
Like-
I probably will get a gun. Because it's like, it's one of those things where at this point,
And with-
after I have a family, if somebody comes
With
lurking,
movies like The
it's going to
Purge
be
and stuff
me
like
or you.
that,
And it's better
This
you
is
than me.
sad.
Like,
And that's
so-
the mentality, unfortunately, that a
That's
lot of
just the
people
world
have to
that we live
have.
in.
Yeah.
The gun law thing is a lot more. Of course, stricter makes so much sense. You need a booklet. You should have a booklet to
This
fill
would be
out.
like a year of
Classes,
Classes.
a refresher course.
mean-
all of
Yeah.
the
You
above.
got-
Eyesight checks.
Yeah, make them expensive.
Just like Cat Williams said in that one stand up,
exactly.
if a bullet costs $7,000,
Ain't
you gonna
nobody-
think twice
Yeah.
before you shoot
Or like-
somebody.
you
I'll
gotta.
pray on this one.
The bad
You
thing
go ahead and take the
about
couch.
it is rifles you can pick up in a gun show with no paperwork.
I have a.
And President Obama tried to. They hated. The white hated him for this.
The white still
He
hates him for
tried.
this.
When President Obama was like, "Oh, you trying to take?" He was doing some things. He wanted to take handguns out of DC homes and replace them with shotguns. It was weird. That was one of his things. But he was trying to get it so that people couldn't buy guns at gun shows without going through the process.
Like you can window
Maybe
shop at
always
It's like, yeah.
having a license to be a
Right.
gun
You should be
holder.
able to.
Yeah.
I have no problem. We don't think I didn't touch on it. If you go hunting and you actually eat that meat, and go for it, man.
Pause.
Hey, don't eat the meat.
Place.
You gotta plate it first. No, if you're going out and you're I mean, you said it, you hit a duck or you hit a deer outside it,
Why
you gonna
is
get
it a
fined. But if you
How many
go,
ducks you hit?
if
Jack?
it's hunting season, because the reason hunting season started was because of the overpopulation. You're doing something
Here's
to
the thing,
control.
though.
I mean, we done destroyed.
Yeah, I
there.
was like, there's no such thing as overpopulation of
you care
anything
way
except for
more
people.
about, how many rabbits did you
Yeah.
kill this month, sir? Oh, you are getting wrote in a citation and all this other
Yeah.
stuff. But it's okay to like, it just really.
But what if he turns that gun on you for that citation?
It's like we
you can
can't
take a life,
right.
especially in Florida.
And a lot of people get away with it too.
So crazy.
Florida's gun laws are stupid.
Florida,
I mean, there's no ifs,
the
ands, or
entire
buts about
state of Florida.
stupid.
It just needs to
It's
sink
troublesome.
already.
Right.
I
Just go
really
ahead and
don't
cut
know.
yourself off and fly away.
How
Florida.
should we protect our schools? I know in Indiana they have a Southwestern High. They have
That sounds made up. I'm not gonna lie.
teacher have lanyards
Or
with like
Disney High
panic
School.
buttons on them, and they have
Work
military
at my
grade
school.
Like a- like-
video.
like a
cameras.
life
Work at
alert?
my school, somebody's
I
gonna
don't
grab
think
that
you
joint
can.
the first day.
I don't think you can.
Like a
I think
life
the
alert
only
situation?
They have smoke canisters mounted on the roof to slow down.
The
You
only
know,
way,
if-
the
I
only way
mean-
that
I
I
seen
feel
this
like
one school
you
that
could
joint had
successfully
flashing lights, smoke
the only way
canisters,
the
all the
only
doors
deterrent
magnet locked.
that I feel like they could have is if they put like at least 2 or 3 actual police units
Yeah.
at every school.
I think
And
truancy
that's the
officers.
thing, though,
for
like,
me,
that's
that's
the
what I
only way.
think.
I wish that wasn't necessary.
Yeah.
But
It's,
it
yeah,
is. But it is.
It's
I mean,
like, and I mean,
I can't
this is
just
the
turn a
thing,
blind
but
eye like
these-
it's not.
These police officers. It's so funny to me how police officers. I don't want to slander police officers.
Why not volunteer to
But
do it?
it's so funny to me how I guess I'm gonna blame one on the media because this is all I see. Is when police officers are so trigger happy and so trigger ready to shoot people who are unarmed and are no threat. But when there are people who are armed with weapons
They're just
killing
sitting
people, they are so
didn't-
quick to
didn't
point
attack.
the
They're
gun,
shitting-
and
they're
they're
just
not
like
they're not actually
shaking
doing
their hand or
any
anything.
real.
That last shooting, a police officer ran away.
It's like what in the world is like what is that about?
If that is a special job,
Yep.
and if you are not mentally ready to protect and serve, bruh. Truancy officers are my answer also.
They need to give them
Presence.
Yeah,
DC's
presence
crime dropped by
is really important.
40% within the last 2 years because of presence. They literally sit on the corners now. You don't see
They're
officers,
always texting too.
and it's like, yeah, they're literally sitting in their
just
cars
texting.
on their
That's all you need.
Yeah.
and presence deters
deters
the
the
people.
crime.
there are back doors. There are people.
Yeah, some
but
stuff
it's
still
a
happens.
step
And
in
some
the
of
right
these
direction.
kids are so damn smart that they could find the whole layout for the school on the internet because everything is at their fingertips. They're better than us right now when it comes, which is scary. With technology, any kid is probably a middle schooler right now that we could find that could be like, oh, well, if I go through this back door. But that presence of knowing that there is somebody else around that corner that
has a weapon.
And he will protect. And he will protect you. And like, I've had my bad run-ins with police officers and very bad experiences, but I would trust them to do his job. And that's what killed me about that officer that ran.
Yeah.
It was something going on.
That trust went away so quick.
There was kids and adults getting killed, and you ran.
They need to put them niggas through Kingsman tests. Like legit.
Nah, yeah.
Like, because
it should be
Or
a lot
maybe
harder.
It should be more like what they do for like the FBI and the CIA, where they do like a psych eval.
Oh,
so
yeah.
just so that way
Yeah.
it's not just
and
like.
they need
what
to,
about
they
like
need to
the,
know that they are
So, yeah,
legitimately
They
invested.
changed
Because, like,
it to education now. So like you have to have a degree. Like they're making it a lot harder. That don't mean you ain't crazy.
Right.
You can
Very
have a
true.
doctorate in political science, and you
Look
can
at
still.
most doctors.
And we see how simple
Yeah.
things like a breakup, a divorce, a death in the family,
Yo,
at any point,
At least
Can
Suicide-
make a
somebody's-
kind
You just be having
person
suicide
just
pacts
Right.
and stuff. Like, it
Like,
doesn't.
no. you that's
People
why
are just
guns
crazy.
in the classroom. There's another video of a white lady smacking a student, and another and then a video of an older black lady getting hit, and she said, "Don't hit me," and it's like, you don't know.
See, if she's
With
strapping.
a spoon, when
Right.
it
Say
gets popped
that
off.
that person can't get overpowered by students.
That's
in the
another
classroom.
thing.
Right.
I have kids in my school that are bigger than me, middle school,
And kids
and you
gang
think
up.
they're not going to take down Miss Susie Q and take that gun and just start?
Avengers principle. You bring guns into the classroom, I guarantee you there will be more guns popping up in schools.
Yeah.
It's just the schools were safe for a certain, or they like generally safe because it's a place where you don't have a lot of that emphasis. But when you bring a lot of that emphasis, then it's gonna be a whole nother dynamic. I feel like it's and I mean, I don't know. I just feel like there is inside the school and then there's outside of the school. What's to stop people from shooting people while they get on the bus? While they like it's
That
just,
walkout didn't make sense to me. I'm just gonna because we went to
say
school
it.
with a sniper on
Yeah.
the loose. So in my
I didn't
head,
say anything. Right. I didn't
in
say
my
anything.
head, I was
Someone
like,
could definitely-
oh my gosh,
I
if
didn't wanna
somebody's
jinx
really
it.
fucking
I didn't
crazy,
wanna jinx
Right.
Right.
they could legit just start picking kids off, and that
That's what we learned in the training because I work on a military base. So
Yeah.
even if people that are if an active shooter happens on a military base, it's not like it's just anybody. It's somebody that actually has access to the base.
Yeah.
So they may have training with those type of weaponry.
you got John Wick running through that.
Exactly. So if they say, if the word has gone around your building that has happened, you don't pull the fire alarm. You don't try and go out in the open. It's best, they have their little, like, you hide first and then, you whatever the steps are.
barricades and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Right,
Silence
but
is key.
yeah.
We've gone through training, and I put the post about millennials and then Generation X and the different.
Generation Tide Pod. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah,
Realized we
yeah,
followed
gen-
that
You
for
mean
like 3 months.
generation
Yeah.
condom sniffer?
Yeah. Oh, it's so
What is
weird.
wrong
Yeah.
with people?
I don't know. I've been in the school system for 7 years now. Wow, it's coming up 7 years, which is weird.
Happy anniversary.
And I haven't within the last 3 years. It's been like real drills. Like we're flipping tables.
Yeah.
We're like
Just
actually,
like 1950s, it's the real deal.
Yeah, and I'm
Right.
like, and it used to be when I first started. Oh, go in the hallway and then
Lockdown.
yes. Now it's like, but I have a giant window to the front of the school. We play a lot of video games. I just see a smoke bomb coming through that window,
Lord.
and then I'm like, what are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to go in the hallway? Are we supposed to stay in here? What do we?
Yeah.
It's no options, and there's not a lot of options to hide in every single classroom, which means
That's
it's not
very
safe
true.
for everyone.
And not at all.
If you're all the way to the third floor in the penthouse, that's what I call it.
I saw someone invented like those little those stops or whatever to go under doors that are supposed to like make it impossible to open or something like that. And then someone else invented a door that like just locks and does not open or whatever. It's like a bulletproof door or something. I mean, bulletproof doors might be. Look, we got money, okay.
We might be. I don't know. We might. I feel like there's a lot of.
Why don't we use that
things
NRA funding to fund some bulletproof doors?
I think a lot of things are about to be obsolete in the next like coming generations. Kids not about to be carrying around books. They're not about to be carrying around paper and book bags. It's gonna be straight
It's
up.
all tablets.
They're
on
the
their
schools are
phones.
gonna have to provide.
Laptops
They're gonna
and
provide
Bruh,
all the materials.
all the testing is done on iPads.
Yeah.
When I was like, I'm in a meeting.
Wait, it's just Scantron.
Yeah, I said
First
that,
of
and
all-
everybody looked at me like, "Come on, Nash, you're showing your age." I'm like, I ain't that old.
You older than me.
All right, well, if you
Number
can
2
afford-
pencil and a Scantron is what you had. You had to fill in
If you
that
can
bubble
afford
all the way,
iPads, you
or
can
the little
afford bulletproof
rectangle.
doors.
It's like completely fill it in and don't go outside the bubble.
Otherwise, your answer wrong.
I was like, how? How the machine not gonna read it?
Right.
I hate them damn scam trains.
Completely. It's like it don't make sense. How you gonna say completely fill it in, but then say completely erase it?
Erase
too?
it.
Right.
So how it don't read it?
That
but
joint's still
it'll pick
gray.
up the erase
With a-
one. It'll pick up the
Right.
erase one, but it won't fill. It won't pick up
No.
my little shaded.
I don't
in
think
one.
they ever graded those.
They really like them jokes were not. They could not have
Never
been
got 'em
accurate.
back.
Scantron.
Dumbass. Also, some people's names didn't fit on the whole sheet.
Nope.
They thought everybody's name was no.
Rectangle.
Was just no more than 8 letters.
I got a short name, so.
Well, lucky you.
But yeah,
Squeeze
guys.
some of the
I
letters in
think
together.
I don't know, man. America is just a very interesting place because it's a lot of white people here, and these people love their guns. So I don't know, and because it's a democracy, it's like I don't know if we'll ever really. Oh, it's a democracy.
Reach a,
Right.
safe
Word.
consensus
Yeah,
for
I don't
everybody.
know.
Here's this like really wild idea. So like when I think of the future, automatically I go to like Batman Beyond or something like that, and everything's like laser guns. Is it gonna get to a point where that gun is for humans, and then you have your original guns is for hunting still, and then if you happen to have this laser gun and you out here, that's illegal. But you can have, like, where are we going to draw this line?
It's
Which
like,
is
it's like
like,
if somebody decided they wanted to go and use a sword to kill people, they could.
yeah, it happened in Florida.
Of course it did.
Of course, it happened in
Florida man.
Florida man.
I don't really stand by that whole hunting thing though, because like,
You gotta. That was the first episode.
like. I grew up with my dad hunting. Y'all seen the Murder Closet with like
Yeah,
it was his bow and arrow. Like he always was like I
I
don't. use
don't. I have
shotguns
no
there.
problem with
like you
hunting.
said,
If
like
you're
it's gonna ruin the meat.
Yeah, you're not a Uzi. A Uzi is the first weapon that they put on the market. That is not made for any animal. If you use a Uzi on any animal, you're not going to be able to eat it.
My dad just said like guns for hunting is just lazy.
People just like shooting them.
They
They
really, I'm like
going
you
to
just
the
like to
range
shoot
and just
shit.
shooting them. I'm
For
not gonna lie.
sport,
I'm probably
sport
gonna
is
go to the gun
not.
range.
I don't. I don't
Meat-
think. I've been
Meat
to a
is
gun
so
range a
widely
few times
available. You
myself.
don't gotta hunt it.
I don't. I just. That's fine. If you do it for sport, you have it locked up. If you've ever seen Keanu Reeves do his thing, it's pretty damn cool because he actually does it in real life.
Yeah,
Check that out.
it's intense.
But that's sport. We did recently have a little girl shoot her trainer.
Man, but
All
Keanu
right.
Reeves is not sport. It is not sport. He is training to kill. Like, there's like no reason
wait.
to have.
So Keanu Reeves
Acquire
gonna.
those
So that's
skills.
not a
There's no
good.
reason to acquire
Keanu
those.
Reeves
you
gonna
saying-
kill President Trump.
Are you saying that we just need a Keanu Reeves in every school?
Shit, we had Keanu Reeves in every
No,
school.
And just make sure he's
because it's
okay.
funny- Look, because it's still that element of his
Maybe
girlfriend can break up with him.
Somebody
One
can
of
kill
these
his
little
dog.
kids, He can he can get one little pamphlet that talks about the Aryan race, and then he just loses it. He just be like, you know what? They really are taking
You
up
know
our
what?
resources. They really are. You know what I'm saying? Things were better back then.
If a black person were to shoot up a Klan rally, watch the gun laws flip overnight.
or just watch if black people just
If a black person did
acquired guns
anything-
Well,
at
that's
the
what
rate
happened in the
that
state
white
of
Like with the
California
Super Soaker
with the Black
even.
Panther. They were acquiring guns. They started to change the laws that said, you can no longer carry them out in the open. They have to be concealed or this and that and such as. But
State
Maybe that's it.
of
You gotta
Maryland
just-
is.
Use that double standard to your
We've seen a lot
advantage.
of memes about that, but maybe that really is
that's
the
real.
answer.
That's
like
real.
we just need to all just go get a gun, and then things will change. Black people just
I
really
already got my sticker, so apparently I got a gun somewhere.
Do you have
apparently
a
I
gun?
really,
Right.
apparently I really went to war, and I have no
Do
idea.
you have a MAGA hat?
Like, I'm telling you,
work
I
for the
came
Men
in
in
the
Black.
mail and it had error. I'm like, nigga, what?
That's hilarious.
And you know, I wake up and grab people,
Not even a
and
magnet.
I don't know. Maybe it really happened.
Man, you never got in a car accident, dog. It would never happen.
That's just a cover.
It's just
It
a
never
cover.
happened. You in Tahiti. See? That's what I'm trying to tell you, bro. I'm trying to tell you.
Oh my gosh.
Man.
But I will end on a serious note because we're just so damn goofy. It is a very serious issue that our kids are kind of being desensitized by the way that we live and the things that we have now. And it gets to a point where 17 people can get killed, and then the next day you're at a school and you think you're going to have like that serious conversation. The kids are like, hey, damn, y'all hear about? And you're like, you know, people lost their lives
Right.
because our country didn't put the right things in place. But I feel like maybe we thought more like that when we were younger. Now it's like, oh yeah, you know what gun he had? And then they'll start going off the top of the head and they know everything. They know the attachments. They know, I'm like, my dad used to say it all the time. He's like, those games are built to brainwash you to go to the military. And he was in the military for 26 years. It's like, there's no reason that a 13-year-old that doesn't go hunting knows all this stuff. So it's a real thing. I think all this is being planned and everything is, this is all happening for their agenda.
I agree. I mean, I don't think you could say it better than that. Like, it's just, we are in a very interesting time in America, and it's unfortunate that the people in charge right now are the people in charge right now, just because this is such a real issue that I would feel a lot more comfortable if there were seemingly capable people that truly cared about everybody in the country and not just pleasing
The 1%.
their supporters. It's like, pleasing your supporters is not going to save people's lives. So it's clear that you're not really caring about people's actual lives. Like, and I mean, how many times do we have to say how many more? Like, I feel like every single time it happens, it's like, oh, how many more times do we need to...
It's like only the fourth month of the year, and it's been like, what, more than 10 school
Yeah.
It's like,
shootings?
come on, guys. Like, it's, yes.
I mean, our record for school shootings is quadruple. Any other? Oh yeah.
And math, you know,
make America great again.
science,
Okay.
you know, school shootings.
Hey,
were
that's
number
what they
one.
wanted.
Oh, yeah.
We got to keep that going.
Schools, like,
I'm here to learn, man,
Schools.
not die.
our schools are getting shot up. Like, our schools are getting shot up.
11-year-olds are making
like-
speeches
Right.
Yeah.
to tell you.
To tell you what to do.
More eloquent speeches
Because
than you make.
Kids are dying. Like, it's not like...
But you're more worried about getting the pipelines put back on. That's important right now. That's what you're using with your time. To change everything President Barack Obama put in place.
My final thoughts. I would say, if I was the president, y'all would hate me. I am coming for your guns. You don't need it. Like, a gun
You don't need
like
it.
a gun is a tool.
If nobody in
that-
America had guns...
and a gun that started off as a tool and now it's a toy. So you mad because we're taking your toy away.
Damn.
You don't
Facts.
need it.
And on
Go
that
sit your ass in timeout.
And on that note, you know what? Thanks for listening. Be sure to follow us, TreehouseDMV, on all social media platforms and TreehouseDMV.com. And we'll talk to you guys later.